against the other as they vote next week on House Minority Leader and early next year on a chair for their party, the Democratic National Committee. The party says it needs to change direction, and that's obviously and objectively true given what groups it lost with on Election Day. Let's discuss with former senior Clinton campaign spokesman and Democratic political strategist Karen Finney. Karen, good to see your face on my monitor.
Good to see you too, Chris.
All right, so you got a little wound licking to do, but there are serious questions as well. Bernie Sanders, though a veteran of the Senate, though his ideas were not new, they seemed new because critics of the Democratic Party within the Democratic Party say you moved too far to the center and you became about fringe culture issues more than bedrock economic middle-class interests. Do you accept the criticism?
I don't, and here's why. I think when we talk about bedrock economic issues, I think that is part of it. But I think part of what we were also talking about and need to continue to talk about, just think about that last segment you just had in a conversation about the rise of the alt-right. I think it is also critically important that we don't forget our core values in terms of our belief that, to some degree it's about economic freedom. Yes, we want people to have good jobs and make good wages, be able to send their kids to college, but we don't want LGBT families to live in fear, and we want people to be able, there are core issues. We want comprehensive immigration reform, and we don't want young people living in fear that their parents are going to be deported. There's an economic component to immigration reform as well. Obviously, over the next few years, with someone like a Steve Bannon and the alt-right rising, I think Democrats need to really get it together quickly, because clearly we're also going to need to be defending some very serious civil rights issues, which again, I would argue to some degree also are part of, a growing middle class in this country that cares about economics, but also cares about quality of life and the kind of life they want to lead for themselves and their families.
I think it's about the balance. The criticism of your party is you're talking about which bathroom to use, more than what jobs people have in the middle class, and that's why your party, objectively, there's zero opinion about this. It used to be Republicans, white collar, Democrats, blue collar, and now that is flipped.
Well, we're seeing look, I agree that we've seen a shift, and I think as a party we need to do a better job of understanding, what was it, not just that made those voters not want to vote for Hillary or for Democrats, but what made them want to vote for Donald Trump. I'm very concerned about some of the, hateful rhetoric that we heard from Donald Trump, and whether or not that was also a motivating factor, Chris, and I don't think we can ignore that in addition to the economic conversation. And the second piece,
the alt-right didn't get him elected. The alt-right is a small group.
But I'm not talking about the
growing, but they're a hateful thing that he is wrong to not dismiss specifically. That's on him. But that's not why you lost.
I'm not saying that we lost just because of the alt-right, but I'm saying there was something in his message that wasn't just about economics that was motivating for people that I would like for us to understand, okay? At the same time, I think the other big piece of this, though, is our party needs to do two key things, right? I think we need to both have that understanding, but let's not forget, Hillary Clinton is going to end up winning this election in the popular vote by more than 2 million votes, so let's not forget those people either. Those are important voters as well, important Americans as well. So I think our party needs to do two things. Number one, I think on the organizational side, and I'm someone who believes, particularly when you don't have the White House, you absolutely have to have a full-time chair, because the job is to make sure that the apparatus and the infrastructure of the party, from the grassroots, from the state party, from the local county chair level, up to the national party, that you have an infrastructure that can elect people up and down the ticket, and you are building your bench of talent. And that is a full-time job to then also raise the money and also help to then communicate the solutions and ideas of the party, working with the, Senator Schumer and our House leadership, and frankly, our governors.
Finney.
Yes.
As soon as you talk about Democratic governors, I have no interest in the conversation. You just said something interesting. You said full-time job. Does that mean that you won't support Keith Ellison because he's been wavering about whether or not he'd leave Congress to be the DNC chair?
Well, my understanding was that the last thing he said was that he thought it was a conversation worth having. So, again.
Yeah, but what does that mean? That only means something to you guys.
I don't know. You got to ask him.
That's not a yes to the rest of to regular people. If I ask you, will you quit your job to do this job if it matters so much, and you say it's a conversation worth having, we're having the conversation, my friend. You either say yes or no. He's dancing on that. Do you need somebody who's going to be full time?
Well, look, the election for chair is going to be next month. I assume he'll take some time and really think about whether or not that's something he's able to do. I'm just telling you, remember, I was there for 4 years with Howard Dean in the Bush presidency, and it was critical that he was a full-time chair. I'm just saying that out of having been there and experience, and particularly when you don't have the White House. So I think that's a critical piece. But look, the second piece is we do need to then also, as I was saying in the beginning, yes, let's understand what's going on with our ability to communicate with working class voters in that Rust Belt area. But let's not forget that the future of this country is moving towards a browner America, is moving towards new technologies and some of the things that Trump is talking about bringing back.
Right.
I mean, we still have an obligation as leaders to see the future
and
to try to bring everybody along.
No question, but it's about balance. Brown, white, yellow,
Yes.
the whole color that unites this country is green.
But I think
People
we can all
wanna make
fit
money
around
for
the
their
table,
family.
my friend. We
I
can
got
all
you.
fit around that
Hey,
table.
that's what this country's about, or at least that's what it was. Karen Finney, thank you very much. The best to you and your family for Thanksgiving.
You too, Chris. You take care.
Allison.
The manhunt is over this morning. San Antonio police say they have got their guy linked to the deadly targeted shooting of a veteran detective. He was just one of 4 officers shot on Sunday. So what officers are saying about what happened this weekend? That's ahead.